So the problems that I found with the window, at least the driver's window on this car, was not necessarily how it's designed, but that the window in this case, and I'd show it to you except that I've already taken it out, the window in this case is a just on tracks, and it comes up and lines up with these, and when you shut it, it seals underneath this seal. The regulator, of course, moves it up and down. But what would happen is when you would open the door, if you rolled up the window wasn't held in the tracks and it would just fall in and you couldn't shut the door. You would physically have to hold the door up in line and then shut it. And if I can take you out of the mount here, what I found is that on these tracks down here, see if we can get you a little bit of light. On these tracks down here, there's one right there. You might even be able to see, yeah, you can see part of the wheel in there. There it is. That is broken off of what's on the window. So it allows the window to flop in there. So there is the roller, pardon the dust, or what's left of the roller in the channel. Now there's a little bit of a problem with that, not just that that's broken, but I'm going to take that out. Unfortunately, I'm trying to hold the light and the camera at the same time. I'm going to take that wheel out and put the new one in and show you what I mean. So the wheel, sorry about this angle, but the wheel fits down in the track. This is the new roller. Wheel fits down in the track and we'll move up and down. I don't want to let it go because it'll just roll down to the bottom. But the problem isn't right there. I've got to take you over to the bench to show you the problem. The problem is with this portion of it. So here's the original setup on the window. This is the glass out of that driver's door window. This connection point, and there's one that matches it on the other side of the window, is where the regulator attaches to the window. This is where the roller attaches. This is the part of the roller that came out of the door, and you can tell that it's broken. And in addition to that, even after I treated these with some PB Blaster for quite a while, they broke coming out, and so I'm going to have to replace them. The problem is that if you look at this, here's what was originally there, approximately, and this is what we're trying to put back in. They look like they would work, except that if you'll notice this doesn't even reach where the threads are in the other piece behind the window. It's at least half an inch, probably closer to like 3/4 of an inch too short, because it comes out, the original one comes out the back of this. Now the problem that I have here, this looks like it would work. However, I'm going to try to lengthen it because it would be too short. I'm going to try to lengthen it by putting 2 nuts on it. I'm going to weld these nuts together so that I can have one nut on one piece, and I can put another piece of thread in the back end of that. In essence, lengthening out the thread for that. That will do 2 things. That will allow me to give me better support on the front side of the window, like this. But also, when I put these on the back, you'll notice that the bolt is broken off in there. If I drill that out, I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to save the threads. So what I'll do is I can put, I'm going to use one of these for purposes of, I'm going to put this on the front where it mounts, and then where this goes on the back of the glass, I can back that up with a nut and a washer. That way I will not have to purchase these. Now, a lot of you are going to say, I know you're going to say it would be easier to purchase these. In fact, I purchased the tool that goes in here to loosen those, but they're been in there for so long and so rusted that the bolt just broke. And while these say that they're for a 69 Chevelle, they are not. They're incorrect. And the only way I can purchase these, or the only way I found to purchase them, is to purchase them as a set with something that's not even these, and I know will not work, and a full set of 4 so you can do both doors, which I don't need to. So for something that should be just a few dollars, I end up spending almost $90 for the full set of hardware. So we're going to try and modify that first, and I'll have to bring you back when we're getting a little closer to being done. Alright, let's see if we can get these bows together. Got some new welding equipment, trying to get used to it here. Forgot to make a piece of punch on it and give myself a guide. I don't know if that's completely centered, but let's see if we can do anything with it. So amazingly enough, I was able to save the threads on that piece after drilling out and tapping out the rest of the bolt that was there, the rest of the threads. But still, as you can see, that's about where that original piece would be, and you can tell that's, like I said, at least half an inch shorter. I think closer to 3/4 of an inch. So we've got to take that back out, add on our terribly welded nuts and a piece of thread, and we'll use that to back up there. Welcome back, everybody. It's been just a few days. I don't know if you remember the original try. For you it was just a second or two ago. But we had a roller that I tried to make from some thread and a couple nuts welded together and some other things, and that really didn't work. I couldn't get it the right size. It ended up being too long, and I'm not sure that it would have held together. Then I tried to find, that was from trying to find them originally online, and this was the one that we had. Unfortunately, you can tell from looking at it there that it was too short. This one had the correct measurements. It was actually, instead of listed as a Chevelle, it was listed as being for a Camaro, I believe. It did have the proper measurements. Hopefully you can see those. These are the measurements. So the roller is 0.950 and diameter and 0.325 in the thickness, or width, I guess you could call that. And the distance is basically 1.2 inches from where the glass would be to where the end of the roller is. Now that's an approximate width, because the existing part that I was trying to measure was broken, and so I was just measuring to the ball, which is not actually where the end of the roller would be. But we're hoping that this is pretty close to that length. I know that the roller is basically the same size and that it works in there. This is the one that's a little bit tougher to do, and I found this on a Chevelle Tech website. That roller goes in a slide which slides back and forth in the channel, and most of these windows have a center support that all the window roller and everything rides on. This is a little different, and I'm sure that there are more Chevelles out there like this, but I had a hard time finding them. So what I did was, in this one, I believe that there's usually supposed to be a roller and then a rivet that goes in the back of it that you peen out and it stays in place. But what I did was, I took one of these that I originally ordered because I know that those fit the tracks. I actually ground down the threads on this. In fact, this one I did as well, and it ground it down too far. But I ground the threads down far enough, and a 1/4-20 nut to fit the threads. I ground about in half so that it would all fit underneath this slider, and the slider could go back in place. So as of right now, it looks pretty good. We're going to try and put it in the car, so I'll bring you back when we get over there. So here is the problems with this door, or at least the problems that I had trying to find the parts for this door. I found a number of videos on YouTube about replacing glass and everything, and it was always something with either a wing window or it was, a lot of them had a guide bar that ran down through somewhere about in this neighborhood, and the window regulator was quite a bit shorter, would actually hook on to a shorter regulator right here on the window. This one has a regulator that runs the entire length, or most of the length of the door here, where it hooks onto the window. So this is somewhat different than most of the ones I could find on YouTube. And as I said, I found a place that had a little talk about the correct rollers, but of course once people find what they need, they never come back to the post and tell everybody, oh, here's where I found it and this is what happened. So we made do with what we had, and hopefully this works out correctly. So we're going to try and replace the windows. I have the little guides that butt up against the window pulled back, and we're going to see if we can fit the window in, get it on the tracks, and make it work. So let me back you up just a little bit here. There we are. And we'll see what we can do. Yeah, I'm afraid of that. All right, so let's see. Just let me in. It does let me in. So this one does not start letting me in. That is, I think, that's me in where I need to be. Okay. Forward a little bit. Get that one in. Let's hold this up there. Nope. Window crack. There's the window scrapers off there. Alright. Now the problem is seeing if we can get the window itself in the track. I think I'm going to have to take off the window scraper here before I actually get that in. Unfortunately, to get the window scraper out, I've got to take the window scraper, take the window itself out. See if I can bring you back when we get that done. Alright, let's try this again. the window is in, and I apologize for not filming while I was doing it. It did amount to taking off a couple of guides, or I should say a couple of stops. This stop went in here on this channel, which we'll have to put back in just a minute. And this stop went over here, not actually in the channel, but what kept the other wheel from going up, or bringing it up in line so that I could put the wheel in the channel. So I'm going to have to put both of these back, and I also need to adjust these up, which are the little window guides, the little cloth window guides that go against the window. And there's that one. There's that one there. Oh, that's right. That was that one there. Which I did with the right. So, ooh, that needs some lubrication, but does some, whew. Let's get some lubrication on that and see what happens. Alright, let's see about getting these guides back in. And the roller's in the way there. Bring the window down just a little bit. Oh, look at that. is being particularly stubborn going in. There we are. And finally success. And we'll tighten that down in roughly the same spot. And this one has to be twisted to go in. Take it in sideways. Here, let me show you. This one has to be, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that with the light in the background. This one has to be twisted. You see that little flag there has to be put into the channel, and then it has to be twisted like that so that it stays in place. Alright. I'm sorry about the lighting, guys. I'm doing this late at night because I just finished the window. But the good thing is that the window rollers are in, and I've been doing a little bit of adjustment, but I think they're pretty close. If you notice, the window or the door shuts and the window goes where it's supposed to. The gap down here is a little wide compared to up there is a little, the glass is like this. So we're going to have a little bit more adjustments to do. And I'm not even sure if I'm in the frame here, but the weather stripping here has been pushed out of the way from when it was done, when something was done prior. So we're going to see if we can take care of all that, but it's a win. We've got a door that shuts properly with a window that works properly.